Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Runners broadcast. This is Kristen Love, your host. Today we have Joey Gaynor, the comedian. But if you want to be on the Oil Runners broadcast, you can email us at oilrunnerservices@gmail.com. You can look us up on YouTube at Kristen Love 3574. You can look us up on TikTok, Kristen Love, Kristen.love, and Facebook, Oil Runners Broadcast. But we are wanting to know who you are, coming in, giving testimonies, whatever it is. We have a whole bunch of guests coming in and they are all lined up. We're getting more lined up. So just come on in and enjoy the show, okay? So right now, we're going to bring him in just a second. All right, well, welcome in, Mr. Gaynor. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm doing all right. How's everything up there in our the 49th state, I believe?
Yep. Everything's okay
Yes.
up here.
Yes, because Arizona is the 48th state, and I know that because I heard it the other day.
I didn't even know it, so I heard it today. I'm
Well,
just
it's deductive reasoning, since Hawaii is the 50th state and Arizona is the 48th. Alaska must have fell in between, so you're the 49th state, that I know. And
yep.
state, I haven't been there, but that is something I want to do, is go there, and I want to go skinny dipping in freezing water to be a real polar bear. No, I don't want to do that. I'm joking. So anyway,
Well, we do have the polar bear plunge, which actually you do that. Like
hey, it's listen.
uh
I live in a mobile home park, a really nice one. I have a mobile home, but I'm propane. So if I run
mhm.
out of propane, then I have to take polar bear shower, which is kind of like taking a shower when if they put you in an asylum. But
Yep.
believe me, you're wide awake after you do. Actually, it's quite, yeah. I mean, cold water is no big deal. I prefer hot water, but once in a while that happens. Oh, the tank is empty. Or whatever. Or I forgot to put the thing on to eat the water heater on. That's
Yeah,
usually
well,
that.
I guess that'll get everybody in and out of the shower quickly if it's cold. So I mean,
Yeah, it gets everything in and out of the shower quickly, even the mosquitoes. No, it's just funny when you say cold water. It's like plunging in the pool when it's 60 degrees out, and
yep.
it's actually very good for you. It really is, and I think the cold showers have kept me from committing crimes. Oh, anyway, what else did you want?
So convincing. uh, but well, shoot. Like, I mean, yeah, well, you were saying that it was 60 up in your area. That's summer weather for here.
Yeah, for you guys, this is a summer day. It's 60. Let's see, what do we have? It's 65 allegedly right now. Uh, and it'll be down into the 40s later because it is the desert. I can tell you in a second here as I look at the big map. Here we go. Fa fa. Uh, yeah, by midnight it will be like 44. Again, shirt sleeve weather for Alaskans. It will get into the 30s overnight,
Oh,
down
yay,
to
coming into all that.
36. That's pretty good. It'll be down to 36. And it'll be in the 50s all day tomorrow. So that's the weather forecast. So I feel like now I should put on a paper hat for the election. I don't know what it's all nuts. It's like those morning shows where they dress up and then you're watching this going, you know what? I you know what? I never do this, but I am going to put whiskey in the coffee today. So it's
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even want to do my homework today, but I have to. It's research paper day. So due tonight at
Ooh,
11:59. So I was
ooh,
like, all right.
yeah.
But
It's not exactly a term paper, but it's still a lot of work. Yeah,
yep.
I
Yep.
remember.
It's writing in the science. So it's like, ugh. But
Well,
yeah,
I at least look, if things get boring, you could go out and watch the UFOs pass over Alaska. There have a lot of UFOs
sure. I'm not going out there in the freezing cold. Like,
passing. Yeah, who's out there at night with a telescope watching for? Well, somebody is, but so let me ask you something now. Where you live, have do like bears just show up? I mean, because you are out in the middle of Alaska.
absolutely. I live in Anchorage, and
Oh, okay, okay,
it's the city, like considered
yeah.
the city versus all the little villages, but it's still the historical piece of Anchorage is absolutely amazing from what my native teacher had taught me, because she is native too, and all that stuff. And like the caribou used to be here until the train got here, and it was like a whole thing. And but bears come through. Um, you got we just had some wolves coming in town, so
Wow.
spotting for that. So of course I'm gonna chase them, like as a photographer. But I chase them. Everybody's else like, oh my
You all
god.
have elk up there?
So we do.
Okay.
Um, the caribou is
Oh,
our biggest thing. And then we have reindeer, we have moose, reindeer, elk, uh, bison.
oh wow. So you actually you have all the major meats.
Yeah,
Uh,
and bears, polar bears, black bears, brown bears.
Now, do people eat bear?
Yep,
They do. Okay, I have heard of bear steaks and stuff like that. Okay.
you got to cook it properly though. All
Yeah.
those meats, you can't just cook it like a hamburger meat, or it really has to. The best way to do it is literally a crock pot and let it
Let it
do it.
really cook to kill any of the parasites or whatever that or yeah, because it is a wild
Yeah,
animal. It's not a bred animal. Um,
yeah.
which is I had another question that I oh, you're Native American.
Part, but I'm
Part
not.
Native
I'm
American.
not Native Alaskan American.
Right.
I'm not that, but I am part. I have that in my blood.
Oh, okay. No, one of my best friends ever was a comedian. He was in Oneida, named Charlie Hill,
Mm.
and really, you look him up on YouTube. One of the funniest guys. And I remember doing benefits with him for Leonard Peltier, and we did it with Floyd Westerman and John Trudell and Buffy St. Marie, and it's this big array of great people and everything. And whenever I write a joke, I always think of Charlie laughing because Charlie, you tell Charlie a joke and he'd deadpan you. You tell him the guy and the thing, and he just
So if he can laugh, then it's good, right?
right, and he would
Like,
just, but he would do this, and then he'd start to turn his head and just bust out laughing because he couldn't keep the straight face too long. But if I could hear his laugh, I know, yeah, that joke is good. But yeah, we used to talk about the all the environment and everything, how crazy it is. Because we're both hippies. I mean, we weren't that far apart in age, and
mm,
we grew up in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s. So we were both uh, hippies, whatever you want to, Plus, Charlie had a lot more to protest about, and but yeah, I just no, that's cool. I don't know. I always, whenever I talk to anybody that's Native American, whether it's a third or a whole. Now, you're not related to a Cherokee princess. That was your grandmother, right? I mean, that's the thing that people always say. I have Native American blood. Oh, really? Yeah, my great grandmother was a Cherokee princess, which is hysterical because there's no royalty in the Indian tribe. There's
oh,
no
there's no
king, there's
princess.
no queen, it's the
Like what?
elders and yes, the elders and the chief or whatever, I mean, it's completely different than anything.
Right. Like, yeah, that made no sense to me either. I am
Yeah.
definitely not a uh That one killed me every time.
My my Uncle Joe was legitimately part Indian. I don't know if it was Watchung or actually Cherokee or I think it was more, it might have been Watchung, but uh so my cousin Charlie, who was my blood relative, obviously is had Native American um in him. I'm not sure the tribe, but uh anyway, um this could go on and become very boring. What else did you, you know, it's just,
So where are you? Well, a little bit of history about you. I mean, like
oh,
where
well,
you grew up
I
and
was
where.
born in Newark, New Jersey. I was born in 1955 in the same hospital, St. Michael's Hospital, the same hospital Joe Rogan was born in 1968. So that's interesting. Anyway, he was born just as we sold our house finally, and we had to
Mhm.
sell it to the city. The city. I lived in Newark, New Jersey, in the Central Ward, which was the flashpoint of the civil rights riots in the '60s. 3 blocks away, the sky was bright orange one July night in 1967,
Oh,
and the riots had begun, and it was really a thing of how people were being treated, and that's why they exploded. It
mm,
it it was a situation where the mayor got together with a real estate guy, excuse me, and they were buying up. They used the term eminent domain to buy up all the houses and everything in these communities, displacing the people in the community because you're buying the house, you're throwing them out, and where are they going? And the landlords are all selling the house because they don't want a house in the quote the 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 ghetto, the slum. When we weren't a slum, it was a neighborhood. You know, we had trees on our
right.
block. We did. We had trees on our block. We had the church was right up the street, St. Joe's. The Baptist church was on the corner. We had the neighborhood taverns. We had the neighborhood luncheonettes. I mean, it was a neighborhood. Kids grew up there. We played outside in the summer. I mean, it was played outside in the winter. It was a neighborhood. They labeled it a ghetto when it wasn't. It was a neighborhood. Everybody in that neighborhood was good people, and we were populated by Italians, Irish, Black, Puerto Rican, Cuban, uh, geez, Polish, people from Portugal. I mean, we were populated by just about everybody, and so I didn't know, really did not know over. I knew what racism was. I mean, because when you're a kid, you're not sure yet. You don't know things, especially my generation growing up. We when they talk about woke or whatever, we were pretty awake by 1965, and so we knew when uh, somebody's civil rights were being violated. Even at 10 years old, I could tell when a black kid would walk through the neighborhood and a bunch of white kids and want to jump him just because he's quote a colored kid and he shouldn't be in it. That's to me that was the kind of stuff that I just never. I always thought that was just bullying. I thought it was horrible, quite seriously,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what segregation was. I didn't know what that really was until we moved well, uh, the Catholic school I was going to closed in 1967 in June. And that September, I had to go to a public school, Warren Street School, which was it was predominantly black, to say the least. It was all black. I was the only white kid, really. Um, there may have been a few Latino kids, but not that many. And uh, so I was the only white kid that was in 6th grade. And the first half of the year we were there, then we moved to Jersey City. Big step up. No, we moved
Mhm.
to Jersey City and I went to Catholic school again. And again, it was a diverse Catholic school. We had black kids, Asian kids, we had Latin kids, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, the whole thing. And so again, again, I was more. I grew up diversified, and then I moved. We moved to the town of Roselle, and I went to an all-white school that was quote busing in black kids, which they really weren't. They were just walking up from Lincoln School, and
Mm.
to integrate the school, so they put all the black kids in one classroom, and that was their idea of integrating the school, which I thought I actually had a big mouth about it. I was brand new there, and I went, "Why are all the black kids in one class?" Well, no, they're all come from Lincoln. Yeah, but why are they all in one room? They're not. Well, how come they're not like you know with all of us? It just didn't make sense. So I got I took a lot of shit for that.
Mm.
1968, and here I'm in seventh grade. But I was a year ahead of them uh, age-wise because in '64 we went to California. I missed 4 months of school, so they kept me back one year, which is, it made sense. And um, when I was a little more ahead. Also in California, when I was 8 years old, I was around bookmakers, gamblers. I wasn't going to school. I was going with my uncle to the racetrack early in the morning to watch the workouts and learn how to do the form. I keep hitting
Mm.
the microphone. Uh, yeah, it was like Goodfellas. Who wants to go back to school and hear about good government bullshit? So uh, so I missed a year, but I was also, but mentally I was ahead of a lot of kids because I was, by the time when I was 8 years old, hanging around these guys, I was already 50. So, so I knew right from wrong. I could spot it. And I just I grew up with a lot of friends that were uh, different ethnics, different races, different ethnic backgrounds. So and then being around a lot of white kids all of a sudden, that was shocking to me. So, but then once I graduated high school, we moved to California, and about a year and a half after I was living in California, I started doing stand up. I started hanging out at the Comedy Store. I'd seen Freddie Prinz twice one year. He was the star of Chico and the Man, which was a huge sitcom hit, and he was like the biggest thing in TV and stand up. He was hosting the Tonight Show, guest hosting when he was like 23, 22, 23. He was a phenomenon. And I saw him twice that year, and I saw Richard Pryor 3 times at the old Schubert Theater. And so I found out Richard Pryor and Freddie Prinze hung out at this place called a Comedy Store. So in late '75, I started going to the Comedy Store and hanging out. And there was guys hanging out there too, like Jay Leno, Dave Letterman, Gallagher. Uh, uh, Let me see, Paul Mooney, um, Franklin Ajay. Oh my God, the list goes on and on. Uh,
So what's a comedy store?
huh?
What is a comedy store? I've never heard of that.
The Comedy Store is a nightclub that's been there now over 50 years,
Oh,
and
okay, so it's
it's
a
a comedy
business.
club. It's like the first workout comedy club other than the Improv in New York, where people would go and showcase or whatever. But that was way more established. The Comedy Store started as a little lounge room on Sunset Boulevard, connected to uh, Ciro's, which became Art LeBeau's Rock and Roll Club. Which became famous. Now, the Comedy Store was started by Paulie Shore's dad, Sammy Shore, and it was just for him and his friends to work out material, hang out, have a good time, and perform and yell at each other or whatever. And it started to do pretty good. It only sat about 100 people, but it was paying for itself because it was an underground thing. Hey, there's a place where, like where jazz musicians play. Well, this was a place where comedians got up and performed, and you could see them all night. So then he had a divorce with Mitzi, Paulie's mom, and Mitzi got the Comedy Store, and she decided to turn it into something uh, like an art colony, and it was to develop comedians and develop the talent. She'd been around comedy since she'd married Sammy years before, So
Okay.
she really knew about comedy, Mitzi. She did know, she did. Um, and so she took that 100-seat room and turned it in, eventually buying the building and getting the other side, turning it into the main room at the store, which is a tremendous place to see a comedy show. Great people play there all the time, and uh, and I got to work it a lot. I mean, I was a regular there. I did shows in the original room, which is what they call the room
Mhm.
where I started in '76. And the big room was the main room, and I was with the Comedy Store Players. Robin Williams, we worked in there doing sketches and everything. I had my own sketch group, Spaghetti and Meatballs. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. And it's a mecca for comedy, definitely. I always told Paulie and I always told Mitzi, this is where all the broken toys come to get to be repaired, is at the Comedy Store. And that kind of is what it is. You know, people can start out, well, they used to start out there. I started out there. It's kind of hard to start out there now because they don't do things the way they used to. So, but
Wow.
but yeah, that's what that is. And I went to see Richard, try to see Richard Pryor at the Comedy Store. I did see Freddie Prinze a bunch, but I didn't see Richard for like a year because he was on tour and stuff. And
Hmm.
I finally saw him. No, it was a few months, not a year. I finally saw him a couple of times, late at night on a Saturday night. He was brilliant. And then I got the courage to go up and try stand up, and I did. And amazingly, well, I got a lot of advice before I ever did it. I talked to a lot of comedians. One in particular was Steve Landisberg, who, if anybody ever watched the show Barty Miller, the sitcom, Steve played Dietrich, the very
Okay.
dry detective with the glasses. And I said to him, because I'd been palling around with the comedians and I'm all cocky and everything, and I said to him, they give you 5 minutes on a Monday night, Steve. Is that enough time to get them going? And he just looked at me and he said, it's a fucking eternity if you're not funny. And I'm, oh God, oh, that's so true. So we went and had coffee, and he lectured me some more about, you know, if you got a joke, if you're getting big laughs and you only have 3 minutes, say goodnight. You don't have to do five. It doesn't matter. And that was the best education I got before I ever did it. And then I wrote and wrote and got a little 4.5 minute act together. And I had a really, really good first time set. And Mitzi called me over. I cursed a lot. I thought I was going to get thrown out of the room. But she called me over and asked me how long I'm doing comedy. I said it's the first time ever. And, oh, you're wonderful. In the Mitzi, you are fabulous. And she made me a regular, and I started to work out and everything. And then she had me as a regular. She threw me out. She brought me back. She threw me out. And then finally, I was solid in as a regular. It took it to really get good at stand-up comedy. It takes hard work. It's not something you do once and you're a comic. And and I bounced around a little bit before I got, but by working at the Comedy Store and everything, I did get to meet my idol Richard Pryor, and
Hmm.
hang out with him as we were talking before the show. I, uh, I was. It's so funny, because I give the same advice he gave me when I asked him about, like, if there's a tragedy that happens, how can you make it funny? How do you come out and talk about a tragedy on stage and get laughs? And he just looked at me. I'm waiting for this 4 hour, like, philosophical answer. And Richard just looked at me and he said, put the funny in, 4 words. Put the funny.
Right.
You put the funny in, then you can do whatever you want because they're laughing. And they're going, oh, this is mean, but this is wrong, but it's funny. You're pointing out something. And okay. So I try to explain that to young guys now, but I don't know. I don't know. If they ask me, I don't go up and go, hey, it's not. I don't do that. Uh,
Right.
not appreciated. You know, I could help you with your act. Oh yeah, old man, what do you want me to sit in your car? No, 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 no. You know, so I don't. No, I don't want to. I don't. Yeah, I don't intervene. But yeah, that was the best advice I ever got. I mean, you know, and I got to hang around great comedians and learn and learn and learn. So that even when I perform now, I use most of the stuff I learned then. You know, it's like playing baseball. You learn your fundamentals, and you keep doing the fundamentals. And the more you do the fundamentals, the more they're sharp. The sharper that is, the better the whole thing is. So uh, that's how I look at it. The Yankees should be listening to me. So anyway,
That was a good one. Um, who was your besides Richard Pryor? Who was your favorite person to work with?
oh,
Like,
like on the road and stuff, there's a few. I mean, I could name. There's Bruce Baum, Baby Man. He was always great to work. He's still great to work with when we do stuff together. Um, I loved working with Paul Sorvino when I did an episode of a TV show he had called The Oldest Rookie. Uh, he was really great. I love working with Robert Townsend.
mhm.
Um, I've done so much work with Robert Townsend, and he is really probably, I would say, one of my favorite people to work with, without a doubt. He's a great director, great writer. He and I have on the set spot written jokes to repair a scene that just once you got there, it wasn't working. And I've worked with him on a lot of the projects. I haven't worked with him in a while, but it's been a minute. But he was, I would say, one of my favorite people to work with on the set. And also, my friend who was a director and producer, Kurt Anderson, he was a lot of fun to work with. Uh, and when I did the series First and 10 on HBO, the football sitcom, uh, Peter Bonnerts, who was the dentist on the old Bob Newhart show, he was the director, and he was great to work with. So I do remember most of the, geez, and my old buddy Freddie Asparagus, who was my comedy partner, and we only got to do one movie together because he passed away. But he was the bartender in Three Amigos. That's how everybody remembers him, because that's such a prevalent movie running all the time, and every little buttercup, everybody remembers him, you know. And working with him was a blast. We had a really good time doing the Jonathan Winters on the Ledge special, and then doing the movie Galaxis with Bridget Nielsen. Yeah, she couldn't find her dog on the set, and I knew the only place the dog would be at the end of the day is the catering truck left. So the dog would be over by where the catering truck is, because there'd be napkins, food on the
Yeah.
ground, whatever, and smelling around all the. So I go over. There's the dog. I pick the dog up, bring her the dog. Now, mind you, she's 6'4". I'm 5'8". And she's yelling at her husband at the time, a race car driver guy. I don't remember his name, but she's yelling at him, the dog, and you let the dog get away. And I walked up and gave her bring the dog, and everybody is there, the cast members, crew, everybody, and producers, everything. And she grabs me and says, "Oh, thank you so much for finding my dog," and pulls me in and gives me a hug. Now I'm 5'8", she's 6'4", so my face is right in her chest, and she's like really giving me this big hug. She's so happy to get her dog. And she lets go of me, and I just turned and looked at everybody, and I did a Mickey Rooney. I said, "Oh, it's great being 5'8". So it was, but yeah, it was fun. That was a fun cast to work with. Everybody on the movie was a lot of fun. Uh, we had a really good time. Uh, yeah, everybody we worked with on that one was fun. Um, so and stand up wise, like on the road and stuff. Oh gosh, I might be one of the few guys to say I loved working with Wild Lenny Schultz. I enjoyed working with let's see, Pete Booty, who was a fantastic comedian. The Smothers Brothers, Slappy White. Um, oh, what's his name? Gary Shandling. Yeah, Robin Williams was another guy I loved working with because Robin was always fun when we did improvs and everything. Robin was really great. And I got to also work with Sam Kinison and uh, uh, just so many really good, talented people. And I tried not to make waves. I didn't go on a set or anything trying to be a wise guy. Chris Rock was
Right.
another cool guy. We did a movie called Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen with Bill Hicks, Chris Rock, Tim Allen, Stephanie Hodge, I can't remember, Steve Pearl. I can't remember everybody right offhand, but there's 12 of us. I think Ben Creed is the MC, and we did it in New York years ago. Chris Rock was like 18, 19 when we did it, and he's always been cool to be around. David Spade is really cool to be around. So yeah, I
Really?
don't really uh I don't really you know I'll run in here or there, but I don't really have any battles with anybody. I mean, there's one or two guys that stole material from me I don't like, but I wouldn't mention their names because I won't give them any press.
Well,
But
I mean, I don't I don't know who they are either. But I mean, earlier you
yes,
were saying like a while ago when
well,
I
they're
first
using my material. That's why nobody knows who they are. So that's no.
you were saying when we talked on the phone a while ago that you knew George Lopez.
Oh yeah, George. Working with George was a lot of fun. Paul Rodriguez was another guy I liked working with. Billy Gardell, another guy I really enjoyed working with. George was easy to work for because he didn't give you a lecture about what to do, what not to do. He just said go out there and be funny. And I always liked working with George. He's very very funny. And Paul Rodriguez, the same thing. I liked working with him. Billy Gardell, the same thing. Mike, he's a star. Mike and Molly. Well, also Bob loves Abishola, which is I think they.
Oh yeah, he's a great. I don't know him personally, but like I love him. Like his.
Yeah, he's great. Billy's really great and very funny guy. Uh, he's from Pittsburgh, and they're
Makes sense.
one of their biggest rivals is the Green Bay Packers. And one night we're out in front of a club, and he's wearing a green and yellow sweater.
Oh.
It's the Packer colors. And I turned to him and I went, Billy, you look good in green and yellow. And he just looked at me and he goes, you know, you don't know how clever you are, Gaynor. Sometimes
Uh,
you're too clever for yourself. Very funny, very funny guy.
have you ever done anything with like the Foxworthy crew? Him and
I worked with Bill Engvall years ago on the road, and he's really good storyteller, really good at uh, I never worked with those guys. They had their own thing. I was living in Houston, and those guys were more like Nashville area. I think Bill came out of Texas. Well, they were all Southwestern comics, and
yeah.
they all had a similar theme, which was okay, Jeff Foxworthy, you might be a redneck if, and Bill Engvall had, you might be stupid if, which is
Yeah.
the same kind of running theme. And so they did their tour with, wasn't it with the cable guy,
Larry,
cable guy?
Larry the Cable Guy and Ron White, I believe it was.
Oh, Ron White. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Ron White's another guy that just floors me. Floors me. I mean, the guy is such a good storyteller. See, like if I want to tell a story on stage, I won't steal from Ron White, but I'll watch Ron White and I'll go, see, that's how you tell a story. And then I'll actually evaluate, is my story funny enough to tell? Uh uh
Right.
like uh it's just it's a thing. You know, he's one of the great storytellers of all time, and it's the way he does the joke. I really enjoy Ron White. I like him a lot. Yeah, that's a great crew. That's a great crew of comics. Um, uh, I I didn't do it. I didn't work with Kinnison on the road or anything. Well, I did in Texas before he was Sam Kinnison. We did a couple of gigs, more with Bill Hicks. Uh,
Hmm.
I did more stuff with Bill Hicks and hung out with Bill a lot when I lived in Houston. Bill was really cool to hang out with. We'd hang out all night, smoking weed and listening to the Rolling Stones and Warren Zevon, and contemplating the fate of the earth. I can't remember half of what we talked about because it's so long ago, and also, you know, I think all the evidence was burned. But it yeah, he was really fun to work with too on the road and stuff. We did a lot of southwestern gigs, and it was a good run back then. There were a lot of clubs in Texas. You could work 6 months in Texas. There's a ton, and then you had Louisiana and Oklahoma, Arizona, New Mexico, and uh, there were some Georgia gigs, I believe too. It was all uh, it was pretty good run we were doing. And that's a long time ago. We'd all get in a car and smell bad for a week. So anyway,
So that was yesterday.
yeah, yeah, it's
uh, what is like the process of getting your like a I know that you go into your comedy show, but I mean writing the process of like writing your jokes and figuring all that out, like and by the time you get up onto the stage, like what does that kind of a
well,
process look like?
uh, I'll sit down, I'll have a pad and paper, and I'll either be watching television, I'll watch the news or whatever, and I'll try to find something I could write about. And sometimes I just write about something that pops into my head. Um, you write down the idea and then you flesh it out and then you keep digging and digging and digging and mining to see what's there, what nuggets are there. And sometimes you'll have a punchline and you'll really believe in the premise. So you'll try
Mm,
the punchline, it doesn't work. You go back, you'll work it a couple of more times. Sometimes somebody will help you with a tag, but the process it's trial and error. And when I do like an open mic to work out material, I'll try stuff out that I don't know whether it's going to work or not. I've never done it, and that's the best in front of an audience. That's the best way to uh, figure out if something's going to work or not. You don't want to do when you're doing a paid gig. You're working literally. You're there to entertain an audience. You don't want to hit them with a bomb in the middle of a good set. Just take all the energy out of the room. You don't want to have that happen. So
right.
yeah, so you really uh, it's a process of of trial and error and back to the drawing board, as they say, and just working the material over and over and trying to see where you can link it into your act so that it's part of a momentum of laughs. So that they're already laughing now, you hook it into where it might fit within
Okay.
the framework of your act. So, let's say I write a bit about uh, helium balloons because I wouldn't get into a helium balloon if you know paid me to do it. I just don't like that. You know, it's scary to me. And I'm writing a bit about that. Well, I'm going to really try to figure out everything I can figure out about what's scary about the balloon, why I don't want to be in there, or what. I might, now that I think about it, I might write, but it's, and then research a little bit, try to find out what funny words are involved with the balloon, you know, uh,
Yeah.
and then dig and then try the bit on stage. And I usually record myself, so then I go back and listen, and the stuff that doesn't work 3 times is gone. Uh, I'll try something 3 or 4 times, unless I really believe in the premise and keep going. No, there's got to be a way. But then I'll just keep working on that premise till I find something. And sometimes you never do. It's just the way it is. But um, Ed Bluestone, who was one of the big writers and contributors to National Lampoon magazine,
Hmm.
was talking to me and another young comic in front of Westwood Comedy Store one night, and he said, 10% of what you write will be gold. The other 90% is crap. And from that crap, you can maybe salvage some premises and see down the line if it were, but don't dwell on it. Just continue to keep what works, what don't work, just get rid of it. Don't keep trying to work something that bombs on stage. It's not going to work. And he was that was great advice. I mean, because not everything you're going to write is funny. There are guys who think when they walk up on stage, they're mad at the audience because a joke they wrote 10 minutes ago, the audience didn't laugh. Maybe it ain't funny, dude. Not everything is going to
Yeah.
work. I
And
seen
that's
Richard Pryor have jokes that didn't work, and he'd pull himself out because he knew what he was doing. But if you're only
right.
doing this a year and you're gonna keep doing bits that are not getting laughs, uh, you got to think about that. Sometimes the flat, got to change the tire on a car sometimes when it's bald. It may look like it's, but
Sometimes that's
there's
an
no
all the
changing.
time deal.
You got to change it. So that's how I look at it.
Okay. Yeah, that actually that answered my question about how you would deal with um like the rejection of not laughing or whatever it is, and if it really affected you at one point in time to where you'd be like, yeah, I'm not gonna go back up on
Yeah,
stage
you
ever
can't
again.
you can't get too emotionally attached to your act, otherwise, you'll be miserable. So I'm not emotionally attached to my act. Um, I don't get heckled a lot. I don't have a problem with that really. Um, and I don't do stuff that would draw heckling. I mean, sometimes somebody yells something out. I don't do quote crowd work. Uh, I don't like to talk to the audience for a lot of reasons. Main reason is they came to be entertained, not to be interviewed. And so
Right.
I don't like to talk to them. There are people who come that they're sitting up front and they're waiting for you to talk to them. They're looking at you like with that look like, oh, he's going to say something to me, and I will avoid them. It's like, you need attention. Well, go to a Denny's, jump up on a table, and drop your pants. You'll get a lot of attention. You'll probably get arrested too, but you'll get attention. There was a heckler the other night. Uh, this guy just kept yelling during everybody's act. He thought he was part of the show, and finally, I walked over and asked him to keep it down. And he wouldn't. And finally, from the stage, I said, uh, you got to shut the fuck up because some of the comics are complaining and you're an annoyance. You're not help. Well, I'm trying to help. You want to help? Shut up and watch. I said, if you want to talk when you come to this show, you sign on the list and you get up here and you have the guts to try to be funny. It's an equal
Yeah.
opportunity for everybody. And he shut up, and the crowd dug it. And it's one thing to yell something out, but to do that every 5 minutes, it's not cool. And there's a lot of comedy shows that are on the internet that promote the audience being quote assholes to the comics, and um I haven't participated in any of them, and I'm not going to complain about it. But there is a certain attitude. You know, I think we're going to enter the new attitude era. That was in WWF at one point with Triple H.
Yeah.
But there is there. It's another thing. It's like constant talking to the audience or crowd work, as people call it. Uh,
So like what Matt Rife does, where
yeah,
he's
Matt Rife has he's really, really good at it. He's really good at it. Because he's really good at it, other guys think they're good at it and they're not. And it gets messy. And uh, so you really got to know what you're doing. You got to really pick your spot. You got to pick
Hmm.
your target. And uh, you got to really learn how to do it. You know, Don Rickles used to insult people, but he knew what he was doing. If I throw an insult at somebody in the audience, I've already made myself the butt of the joke. You see, so it doesn't matter. I've already beat, I've already dumped on me. So, and plus, if you have a joke at somebody in the audience, if they heckled and you have a comeback or whatever, uh, it's unless they're a complete idiot, and by that I mean they're constantly yelling and they're, you know, and that's when management should throw them out if they're drunk or whatever. But
Right.
uh, I don't, I don't like to talk to the audience because uh, they don't come to my show when I'm doing a show. They don't come for that. They're not coming for that, basically. And also, again, I don't want to interview them. I want to, you know, that what a lot of these guys are doing is nothing new. Uh, for instance, comedian Alan Steven, who was a producer writer on the Roseanne show, and was
Hmm.
also, I think he's the only or one of the only two surviving outlaws of comedy with Sam Kinison. Uh, he is one of the few guys I could see go on stage and for 30 minutes talk to the audience and make it funny. Jimmy Brogan is a guy who's been doing that his whole life. That's his whole act. Where you from? What do you do? Bada ding, bada ding. And inserting jokes in between. Um, lots of guys. Letterman was brilliant at it. Lots of guys can do it. There's just you gotta really watch the guys that know what they're doing and watch the technique. Watch the because believe it or not, they're going to be doing those same jokes to different people.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah. They
yeah,
found their niche.
they're going to do. They're going to be in another club with a different audience, but they're going to do those same punchlines because believe it or not, that's what they're making a living with. So
Mhm.
and again, I don't have a beef on how anybody does their act. That's their business. Whether I like it or I don't like it, it's not even a question. I don't even get into like or don't like. It's what I know doesn't work for me and what does work for someone else. And what works for someone else may not work for me, vice versa. So I don't look at it and go, oh, look what he's doing. Oh, you know, I don't care what you do. I'm a true liberal. I don't give a shit what you do. So I mean, um, that's that's what it really is. It's not. They hijacked it, but that's. I'm very, very open about because comedy is very subjective, and
Mhm.
one audience may love jokes about boogers. I don't know, you know,
And
and that
it's not you, it's somebody else's joke, maybe,
yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody's taste is different, so I can't speak for everybody. Unless somebody is really offensive, um, then you know, I don't know why you want to go up there and be completely offensive. Uh, but I guess there's a market for it somewhere. I guess when someone
Right.
has to open for the lighting of the cross. Anyway, uh,
Mhm.
no, that takes a second.
Yeah.
Takes the opening act for that. Uh, I guess if you want to be. No, um, I've seen so many comedians and so many styles. Uh, Arsenio Hall when he did stand up was really great. I mean, I just seen so many different guys that you just you just don't know what will work for certain personalities. Um, like there are certain jokes if I did them, they would throw me out of the club. But other guys do them, and it's okay because their personality suits it, or they like the guy more. What it doesn't, So it's not
Right.
anything you can really lose sleep over. You know, styles and all of that.
Yeah. So would you prefer, you were saying that you were acting too. Would you prefer comedy over acting or acting over comedy or just
No, I really like doing both. I think one enhances the other. When I'm when I work on sitcoms or a movie or that, I tried to get out and do stand up once or twice while I was working on the show or whatever, uh, because it keeps you sharp, and you can't create spontaneity when you're doing a scene, but something spontaneous can happen, and you have to be awake to catch it.
right?
I really like both a lot. Um, uh, it's funny because if I was on a series now making oodles of money and had a multi-million-dollar compound, I'd still want to go out and do stand up. I just love doing it. I love making people laugh.
Mhm.
You know, um, if I had that kind of money, I'd probably do some small places for free to piss off other people. But that's no, but I do I enjoy live performing, and I enjoy making a movie or television just as well. I can't really pick one or the other. Um, yeah, that'd be the best answer for that.
Is there a new project you're working on now?
Yeah, I am working on a project here. I'm writing with a friend of mine, Chris Whitney. We're working on a series of episodes, like 4 to 5 minute episodes, uh, about a fellow here in town who is a clown. He dresses up as a clown and does stand up. And we've been writing this. I wanna do it. We could put it on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, working on that. I've also been working on a book for about the last year, and maybe by the end of 25, it'll be finished. And maybe if I
Hmm.
get my button gear, I can finish it sooner. It's a book of stories and stuff, and uh, I don't have an exact title for it yet, but everybody's writing a book. But I've got some great stuff.
Like stories of, your past stories or just
Yeah,
stories.
experiences of in show business and
Oh, that's
uh,
pretty.
stuff like just all the a lot of wild stuff that went on, and stories about when I worked on the George McGovern campaign in '72 when I was 16, 17. I hadn't even turned 17 yet. We were working on the political campaign. There's a lot of stuff. It's amazing. Meeting John Lennon, things like that. There's a lot of
Oh,
stuff will be in the book. Some stories will be a little longer than others, but they'll all be good. They'll all make for good
wow.
reading or listening. So
Yeah. Yeah, now you can be on a CD. Well, we don't have CDs anymore, technically, but
right,
audiobooks. Yeah.
yeah, be on an audio book, reading my own book, which would be fine. It'd be just me telling the story, but uh, yeah, that's what I've been working on that, and I am waiting to get the green light on a movie where I will play a mob boss, which would be a lot of fun. So I'm just
Oh,
waiting to see what's happening with that. Um,
so
uh,
you actually have to be serious for once in your life then.
uh, well, I've done a lot of serious roles, which is, I enjoy doing them. I think the fact that I do stand up comedy makes enhances it when I get to do something serious. And uh and I think having a sense of humor it's easier for me to be dramatic, to do a dramatic
Hmm.
thing because I can see the irony in what's going on. I always look for
Okay, yeah.
the irony of why this guy's so angry. What's you know, it just by I like I said, I like to read the script. Like I learned from Anthony Hopkins and I'm nowhere going like Anthony Hopkins, but just reading the script over and over and over and over and over, you keep finding things. You keep finding things out about your character. You keep finding things out about what he or she is doing, why they're doing it, how they became this person. It's all there. The writer put it all
Right.
there. You just have to
Exactly.
learn to find it. And that's reading the script over and over and over and over and not writing a backstory because whatever you're writing has nothing to do with what the writer conceived. And that's, uh, you can discuss the character with the writer or the director, but you can't decide to just change the character completely. That's usually when they mess up a movie pretty bad.
Yeah,
So,
because the writer had that vision. You're just
yeah,
trying to pull the vision out of, or figure
right,
out the vision from their vision.
right. I mean, the actor, what the writer writes the blueprint, the actor can bring things to it. You can bring things to the party, you know, but not all of
Yeah.
your, maybe not everybody's going to like the hors d'oeuvres you brought or the wine that you brought, but it's okay. You brought something, and listen, I've suggested things, they got knocked down. I've suggested things, they put them right in, and I've improv things that went right into the movie uh, because it was spur of the moment and I knew it would fit. And to me, acting is not just saying your lines. And you got to be eyeballing everything. You got to, you. They say be in the moment. I had an acting coach that said, "There's a lot of moments." What do you mean be in the moment? Be in the moment means alert, aware. You're right there. Everything that's happening, you know what's going on because you're not
Mhm.
thinking about the ball game or an argument you had with a friend or a girlfriend or a significant whatever. You're there to do that. You know, if you were a plumber, you'd be doing your job. So it's the same thing with an actor. You got to do your job,
Yeah.
and it's like stand up. You got to memorize. You got to know what you're doing, and I really dig it. I really love it. I really do. I love all of
Have
it.
you ever, yeah, have you ever improved on the comedy portion?
Sure, sure. Um,
Completely improved it versus writing it down and all that stuff. And
oh, yeah, off the top of my head, stuff on stage. Sure. Oh yeah.
yeah, the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, lots of times. I mean, that's part of doing stand up. When you get into the groove and you're riffing and you come up with stuff, that's why I tape myself because I'll come up with something and I don't want to forget it. And that's you know, that's a major thing. Is taping. That's how you
Mm.
will the recording or on your phone or whatever. That's how you're going to remember. That's your memory. You have to use that. Unfortunately, there's times I don't, and then I come up with gold, and then what was that I said?
Yeah.
So now I tape myself a lot more. I record myself, is what I should say. We don't use tape, we record. Um, yeah, and
So have you done any of your work with any like health issues that would possibly cause some kind of a issue on stage for acting
no,
or is
no, I have a joke about me having glaucoma, and I'll say I'm wearing my tinted glasses not because I'm trying to be cool. Everybody knows I'm cool. It's just that I have glaucoma, and if I wear the clear glasses, the lights can heat up, and melt the coke. And this crowd's not worth blowing $100. And I'll talk about that. I'm type 2 diabetic, so sometimes I'll talk about that about how after Thanksgiving dinner, everybody knows I'm type 2 diabetic and I'm testing my blood sugar 2 hours later and they gather around. What are you doing? I'm testing my blood sugar. It's, after the meal. Oh, can you test mine? Test mine. And it's like, it's not a Game Boy. My score here, they cut off digits. So,
right.
you know, So yeah, I try to thank God I don't have a lot of major health issues of any kind. Thank God. So but I bring into play stuff like that. Uh you know, uh I used to have a joke about woke up this morning, I had one big blue leg. And I
Jeez.
realized I still had my jeans on. So, you know, anyway, yeah, because I was drunk the night before. I should have set that up. But anyway, yeah, I don't, I, I do have some jokes about affirmities, but nothing that's uh, going to make people cry or get mad. It's usually it's positive stuff. I try anyway.
Hmm. That's awesome. I see you like the New York.
Yes,
uh,
I'm from New Jersey. I like the Giants. I like the Knicks. I like the Yankees, and I like the Devils. And so I don't whine. We lose, we lose. This has been a bad. The Yankees lost the World Series, and it was terrible. Uh, it was awful. I can't even think of the words to describe it without getting censored. Yeah, it
Well,
was
we'll
wow,
just
man. They just stunk up the joint. There's nothing you could say. The
right.
look, the Yankees they have to get ready. The Dodgers were ready. Big difference. Big difference. So uh, for sure on that one. And who's the big team in Alaska? College team or
I honestly don't know. We have
uh,
hockey, but
what about your college football team? Is there a college that has a football team up there or
we got my college, which is the sea. What are we? A sea wolf. But that's pretty much
they
like
don't play football though?
the high schools do.
Yeah, but I mean there's no
We're
college
not.
football really.
Not that I know of. I
I guess
haven't.
the travel would be rough to fly all the way down to the States and then, flying all the way up there. So college football would be kind of tough, it looks like.
Yeah, it is. I think we're more now like the Comic Cons, stuff like that. The Comic Cons, and they're
Oh,
they're
yeah.
up here, and we do have the hockey team and
Oh, what's the hockey team?
the Aces.
Is that a minor league hockey?
I'm not sure that one.
They probably play in Canada and stuff because that's not that
I
far away.
think I think so. I think they're like the big dogs, out of like not school or whatever, but
Right,
it's not a major um thing.
right, right.
But yeah, the Aces are what we have. But other than that, and I did okay, so we do have the Iditarod. That's a sport.
Well, it is. The Iditarod is great. I've watched coverage of the Iditarod when they used to have Wide World of Sports when I was a kid. You'd see they'd cover the Iditarod, and now they don't. ESPN, nobody. Maybe ESPN Ocho, the Ocho. No, but there are channels. I've looked on Prime, Amazon Prime Live TV, and Roku Live TV, and Google Live TV, and there are so many sports channels, and they cover things like highlight. And I wouldn't be surprised if
Mhm.
somebody's going to cover the Iditarod. I don't see why not. You can follow with a helicopter. I mean, uh, it,
Yeah,
it-
we're all out there
yeah,
recording it on lives, and so it's on more on Facebook,
yeah,
uh, and Instagram, wherever whoever has their camera live, they're covering it on whatever stuff, and the news definitely covers it, up here at least.
right.
And we got that, was it the PETA or whatever? They're trying to put a knock in this whole thing, and they're killing the dog.
Oh,
Seriously, the dogs are bred up here for that reason, for this. I mean, yeah, maybe one person had a dead dog, you know what I mean, or whatever, but the whole system, they need to look at that, and it's not the
the
lower 40. Uh,
yeah, the in my opinion, uh, the Iditarod, they do not treat these dogs mean. They do not beat
Oh,
these dogs. I mean, I've got friends that have been to Alaska and have, and have said that the dogs are treated extremely well. They've got to be healthy. They got to be strong. They can't be
yeah,
beating these animals down. They wouldn't be able to race them, you know. Um, so uh, anywho's this, it's crazy.
yeah, and they're petty. So like when of course I'm petty in a way. Uh and I like to photograph things that other photographers don't grab, they're just
Right.
that normal. I have several photos that are like the dogs coming down and whatever, but I want the other stuff, the non talked about whatever.
Right.
So like I um I took a picture of a dog when the start, or like they were like the second team in or something like that, and at the start line in Anchorage, and all you hear is 10, 9, like just the whole countdown. As soon as the countdown came up, I seen the dogs jump up so happy, and I
Yeah.
caught the dog like literally on his hind legs, and I posted it in the Iditarod page, because it is a great page and everything, and you get to see throughout the year how the dogs are doing and what the people are doing, and the different historical pieces, and it's just great. And so like PETA came in and had said something, and then they ended up inboxing me this dead dog and the thing,
Um.
and I was like, seriously? So then I was petty and posted that photo, and I was like, I don't see a reason why this dog is so unhappy. Like, no unhappy dog or anything. I was like, you know what? Don't come with me with that stuff. I mean, I get it. I'm not that ignorant to where a dog dies, but other than that, I see the whole picture, you know. And you go to their houses, the dogs are outside, they have their own kennels, and it's just
Exactly.
a different way of living up here. Like just like how people would throw paint on fur coats. You don't do that up here. You need them. Like,
Well,
like
I mean, from everything I've ever seen, I've never seen the dogs being mistreated.
Mhm.
I've had friends that are from Alaska, and we talk about it. I mean, it's different up there. It's a different way of living.
Yeah,
Waste is not a word that people have in their vocabulary. They're not wasteful. That's
right.
very resourceful, if anything. So,
Yeah. The
um,
furs. Yeah,
so
the furs
are
we wear.
we reaching the end here, or what's happening?
Oh, I mean, if yeah, we could. If you have anything else, like,
No, that's about it. I mean, I have somebody coming by here in a little while. So um I gotta actually get going. But
okay,
it's been really great. We got to do it again. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know when we are going to be on the air or on YouTube. And yeah, it was fun. It was really nice. And uh ladies and gentlemen, if you want to reach me, Facebook, Joey Gaynor. I have two of them. The one with we are crowning Richard Pryor King of Comedy. That's the one that's the one I'm on a lot more. Also, what is that? Instagram. I'm on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel, Joey Gaynor. So you can reach me through all of those, and look forward to hearing from you or seeing you and out there all over the place. So
And please get him on General Hospital.
yeah, I want to get on General Hospital. I want to play a bad guy. That'd be so much fun.
Well,
Anyway,
I got one more question for you though.
yes.
What is the one thing, I'm not putting this in your spirit or anything like that, but the one thing that you want people to that you want to leave on this earth for the people, for the next, for the next, to help them grow, be inspired on anything in life or whatever.
Is to have an open mind, listen to the other person. Even if you don't agree with them, you don't have to hate them. You don't have to call them names. You don't have to think their ways. I mean, you know, we, I would like to have the world it would be great to have peace, in the world. Unfortunately, there's people that don't want that, but we have to each take upon ourselves to put out the very best we can put out and set the example. It doesn't mean you have to be a schmuck and take crap from people, but if you are true to yourself and true to the humanity, that is like a pay forward. That's how I feel about it. Um, I really would just leave where especially in our country, people stop just pointing fingers and yelling at each other.
Take
It's
accountability.
just gotten out of hand, and
Yeah.
we're not going to survive if we're like that. We're going to be a nation of dumb people. Because people are just yelling and screaming and they're not really looking for true answers. So, I'm hoping that uh, I'm hoping that in the future generations they'll be able to do that. I think they will. I watch Star Trek. They seem to get along fine. So,
Oh, okay. Well,
there
thank you
you
for that.
no problem, no problem.
I
Live
really,
long and prosper. Live long and prosper. That's it.
I can't even do that. Like
Uh,
it's you're
take.
talking.
I don't have that thing where you can't put your hand flat, so I can do it. It's pretty
Right,
easy.
we got it right there. I can do
Yeah,
that.
there it is. Live long and prosper.
Yeah.
I once met George Takei, Mr. Sulu. I met him and I told him that everyone tells me you sound like me. And he just cracked up. He went, "Oh my God, that's a great impression."
It
So,
really is because
yeah,
that was great.
yeah, it is. It's one of my best impressions, actually. But, anyways, I will leave you with this. Happy holidays. God bless. I want everybody to relax and enjoy the holidays. I want you to have a great year this year, 2025, 2020, because everybody says have a great day. But what good is one great day? We need a lot of great days. So I want everybody out there uh, to just have a great year and greatness to bestow upon you. And God's,
Awesome.
that's what I want.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No
And
problem. All righty.
all
Thanks
right.
for having me on.
Yes. No, thank you for coming. It's much appreciated.
You got it. All
Uh-huh.
righty.
All right.